Right, so it is 7 o'clock. We're going to call the meeting to order. I do have one addition of a support letter to Dalhousie University on location. That was Melissa was kind enough to distribute to everybody this afternoon. Is there any other additions this evening? Ask for a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
So
Councillor. Seconded by Deputy Mayor. All those in favor, please signify by saying yes. Yes. Any opposed? The agenda is approved as amended. This evening, we have a gallery presentation from Eastern Counties Regional Library. I understand that Ms. Laura Emery is participating online, so we will hand the floor over to you for your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I deeply appreciate the opportunity to speak with you this evening. It is greatly appreciated. Could I have the next slide, please? And the reason I wish to have this presentation is to alert Council to a burgeoning issue that has to do with the library provincial funding formula. Now, I have a description, obviously, in the PowerPoint of how the formula is determined, but the critical points about the formula is that it had a 5-year term and a span, and it expired in March 31st, 2025. And the formula is what determines our annual operating funds. And it has not had an actual increase in the formula for the 5-year period. What's been happening is that library regions have been lobbying the provincial government for relief grants, which were provided in 23, 24, and 25. And this is a great difficulty. We were supposed to have a new formula for April 2025, and we do not, which, I'll certainly talk about a little bit later more. But this annual operating funding, it is the monies that pay people's salary, that buy, gas for our vehicle, pay our mailing costs. It is the money that takes care of all the things you need to have a regional library system, but that you can't really get a grant or a donation for. So it's core funding that's essential. If I could have the next slide. Thank you. And I want you to know that Eastern Counties has participated and been working very hard to find a solution to help create a solution for the library funding issues. In 2024, the province struck a library funding review committee. I served on that committee, as did Keith McDonald, the CAO from the municipality of the County of Inverness. This committee was made up of various library board members, municipal councillors, municipal CAOs, regional library CEOs from across the province. And research was done on behalf of the committee's work that was very in-depth, very data-driven, very detailed. Government really wanted that data, and the committee needed it to create scenarios and possible solutions to the library funding situation. So we did have an excellent opportunity to get our local perspective and put that forward to the committee and to the government. So things were looking very positive in 2024. The committee's work wrapped up in September 24, and at that time, various scenarios and solutions were put forward to government, but we don't know what went forward from the department to government for library funding. So it was looking very good in 24. Could I have the next slide? And one of the critical findings that I want to draw your attention to, there was a large study done of the salaries of library workers, and it compared these salaries to the library community across the province, across Canada. It also looked at salaries and wages in multiple sectors, academic, municipal units. And the finding that, in a way, we certainly didn't need a study for me to know this, but we don't pay people enough for the excellent work that they do at our libraries. And this study really demonstrated that, and those detailed results went forward as part of the submission to government. And so I just wanted to show you that and really say that this was historic in that it was such an effort and so much factual data was gathered. Could I have the next slide, please? The current situation is, as I mentioned, the province did not implement a new library funding formula in April 2025, which was anticipated. The regional library systems did not receive a funding increase in the provincial budget. We did, however, successfully lobby and receive the same one-time grant as in 2024. However, regional library systems, there are different situations for each organization, and some folks are a little closer to a crisis situation. And collectively, we decided this wasn't sufficient. And so a second request for additional short-term funding was made to government to prevent service decline while a new library funding formula is developed. So we are waiting to hear about that second financial request. However, I am not optimistic. It is not looking positive, which is part of why I am speaking to all of our municipal partner councils, and we're starting to build a dialogue and a discussion to help with this issue. Now, our funding challenges are what you would expect: sustainable compensation and living wages for our staff for their incredible work for the community, collections, the books in multiple formats, and digital services. We've already had to make a reduction in our digital service hoopla due to financial constraints. So collections will take a hit certainly this year, and they are what people come to us for. Internet technology is an incredibly high priority for the public. Many of our libraries require new Wi-Fi technology and computers, and infrastructure maintenance and capital purchasing are enormous challenges for the library board. I must say the province has been very supportive of our efforts to repair our regional office facility. It's just unfortunately over the past year, more building issues have come to light. And the board is, having to look at and start to consider whether selling the building might be a means to reduce costs and liabilities, but it's impossible for them to make a logical decision without that funding formula information so that they could determine, like, well, can we afford to operate this building into the future? We're stuck in the sense we can't truly plan our financial future effectively without this information. And in terms of dealing with the building, we certainly will likely have to deplete our financial reserves in this budget year, 25-26, to deal with some of these issues. And those savings were really, they were sitting there for the purchase of a replacement vehicle. We have one delivery vehicle that we just got new, which was absolutely wonderful, but we have a second vehicle we use for branch visits that we need to replace. It's over 12 years old. So next slide, please. And I wanted to share this statistic, which is, it's the statistical analysis, but it's calculated by the province of Nova Scotia. And the reason I'm sharing it is I just really want to convey that there's no more business efficiencies or processes I can internally go through to solve our funding difficulties. We are already providing, a very decent amount of open hours. We have the lowest total FTE, so staff in the province. We have the lowest number of employees in the province, and we have the lowest staff expense per open hour. So this is a calculation that shows you how much it costs to provide a public open hour of service, and that includes all of our staffing in this calculation. So we're not just, more efficient by a little bit, we're really efficient by a lot. We're, operating at $66.45 an hour, whereas the nearest library region's at $100.31. And so, I mean, we're doing the absolute best to provide the greatest return in public open hours and public service for the monies we have. And so there's no internally the money is fully occupied and there's nothing we can really do that would not harm public service if we had to continue to operate in our current funding level. Next slide, please. So what is needed? I mean, a long-term solution would be best. We need, and rather urgently in government time, a modern, sustainable funding model to continue to deliver vital services and support government priorities and help communities. So it's just a long-term solution is really what is the issue for library funding. Next slide, please. So our next steps, I want to assure you that I'm bringing this issue forward to councils in a timely fashion in the sense that public services will remain stable in the 25-26 budget, but ECRL, the library, does need our municipal partners to help prioritize the library funding formula with the provincial government. Provincial government is, of course, as all municipal governments are as well, overwhelmed with many issues coming at them. And whatever our municipal partners can do to help highlight, prioritize this issue with the provincial government will be critical to getting a resolution. And I also want to say that we will be working hard to prevent service declines in 26-27 by advocating with the provincial government and engaging with our municipal partners. So we are hopefully tonight starting a dialogue and a communication that will be ongoing for the next year as we work towards a resolution to this library funding issue that prevents any kind of service decline in our area. So I think the next slide, please. Okay, so that was a lot to digest in a short period of time, and it is a complex issue. Are there any questions?
Thank you so much, Laura. I guess we'll open up the floor now for questions from council or comment. Perhaps we'll start with Councilor Ford.
Thank you. Thank you, Laura, for the presentation. Could you just talk for a minute about one of the main services that we're providing through Eastern Counties Regional Library in the Mulgrave office in terms of the tote loads of books that are coming in there
Yes,
pretty much every day, and the work that requires, and
certainly.
it's not something that we're being compensated for. It's a service that's been foisted upon the Eastern County Regional Library and without the proper compensation.
What has happened with the Same Page consortium partnership, so we're sharing our collections very effectively with partners across the province, and books are shipping in at an unprecedented rate. Our team has remained the same size. We have 4 team members who deal with the shipping and receiving of books. And it's just astronomical the amount of books that we have coming in and out of our regional center. We have books coming in from other library regions, going out to users in this area. We have books shipping from this area to other library users across the province. And the team is handling wow, it's, 4, 5,000, 6,000 items a month. Summer months are usually a time when people have vacations and they have time to relax and read. So it can be a very, very busy time of year. And nothing, it's as you mentioned, Blaine, nothing really was added to our compensation to deal with this increase in use and this new system that we have in place that is very successful. That's why we have so many books coming and going. But it is very wearing on our staff and, repetitive strain injuries and certainly, the amount of lifting and shifting of books is very difficult to manage without additional staffing. And that is a critical aspect of our service. If our regional office doesn't ship, users in the area don't get books. So it does definitely need additional support and shoring up. So that's part of why we need a new library funding formula to deal with this situation, for everyone's well-being and to ensure the service is, continuing as it needs to.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Deputy Mayor Lehman.
Thank you, Laura, for your report and the good work that you and the librarians are doing at Eastern Counties Regional Library. I was very impressed with your how lean you're operating and maintaining service, and looking forward to finding ways to help keep your service going. Very important. And you
Yes, yes. And you know what? You do bring up an interesting point for me that I should share with council. Because we are so efficient at leveraging partnerships and grants, sometimes we can have this core operational funding issue, but then we're introducing something new that is a benefit to the community. And people wonder how we can do that while we're talking about this core operational funding issue. And that is understandably confusing for our partners and for our communities. For example, we're very close to introducing loanable hotspots and Wi-Fi, and that is through a partnership at no cost to our organization, but it's a new innovative service that will be very popular. So it's, we're doing not just internally very efficient operations, but we do leverage our connections to always be looking to improve service for the community.
Laura, I just have two very quick questions. You talked about divesting of assets or property, I think you might have said. I'm just curious to know what that was. And the second question is, and this shows how outdated I am in so many things, including the library. Do you have a bookmobile service anymore, or is that all done? And
Okay, well, I'll give you the first question. The board is unusual in the province in that it owns its regional office. Every other library region is housed within a municipal unit's property. So if we were structured like everyone else, we would have a lovely space for a regional team in one of Port Hawkesbury's town facilities. Whenever the region was created, decisions were made, and we own that building in Mulgrave. And any monies and staffing time we put towards that building come out of our annual operating funding, and in a sense, can potentially, if allowed to, distract or detract rather from public service because it's all the same pot of money. So the board, really has to look at this issue for the sake of public service and our mission. And try and find a way through it. We have been successful in getting grant funds for facility improvements, but it is, construction's very expensive, and the staff time that goes towards that type of work, it's just a very complex issue. And so the board's just having to investigate all options and consider that for the well-being of the public library service in the area. The second question is no, we do not have a bookmobile at this point in time. What we do provide that is an umbrella service that anyone can get is borrow by mail. So there are multiple routes you can call. We have a 1-800 number at our regional office and request books over the phone. Or if you want to log in online to our online catalog, you can order books and have them shipped automatically to your house. And of course, we have audiobooks, large print, DVDs, Blu-rays, and a variety of other materials, magazines that you can also access through this. So it's very, it's sustainable and manageable as long as we do not have a Canada Post strike, as that does really impact our service.
just one last very quick question. Do you still have a bookmobile garage for the vehicles in Mulgrave, or has that been divested?
No, we have not sold any assets at this time. It's just part of our financial thought process, and certainly the board will be working, to really investigate all options. But we do have a very we definitely have the large garage on our property as well.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Councillor Bear.
Thanks, Laura, for the presentation. Just, I see the importance of the libraries, as, a common place in providing a service for the community. I just, can you speak to a little bit about how the operating has changed over time, especially the digital impact on the libraries?
Certainly there's a new service area that I should take the opportunity to promote, and that's community well-being. So we got special funding, one-time funding from the province for a grant to give menstrual products, incontinence products, diapers, any other health-related things the community needed away for free at our libraries. So that's something I want to encourage anyone who might know anyone or have need of these materials themselves to actually come and visit the library, because you can walk in and you can pick up diapers, you can pick up whatever it is you need without any kind of, it's very easy, it's very discreet, it's just available on shelving, and that we know has been helping a lot of people, because these products are very expensive. Incontinence pads for seniors, both men and women, it's incredibly pricey. So that's a new service area. We also have some food security work and partnerships which we've had happen over the last year, that again came through one-time funding from the province, that have again been very well received by the community. We had very, very successful seed libraries where people could come in and get seeds and, take those home and start growing their own food. That was extremely popular. And we also are a place where you can get HIV self-testing kits through a partnership with Heal Nova Scotia. So one element that has really dramatically changed over the last couple of years, and it started when libraries gave away COVID-19 testing kits during the pandemic, has been our support for community well-being. And of course, we want to continue that work, but as I mentioned, it was one-time funding. So we need to advocate with government to get more monies to be able to continue meeting this need in this way. So that's certainly a very different area for libraries that's been really welcome. In terms of digital services are extremely convenient. And one of our difficulties is that Hoopla is a downloadable service we have where you can get movies, television shows, music, books, comics, and it's all downloadable and it's instant. And that's just incredibly successful. And that is where we had to make a little bit of a cut, taking it down from 10 borrows a month to 5. Even then, we're still looking at that and whether we can maintain the 5 for this coming budget year. So digital services typically appeal to working families, anyone who's digitally savvy. It's often a younger user group. And we know some people are actually signing up to be able to use the library just to access this service. So those are two, big changes over the last few years, certainly.
Thanks, Laura.
Councillor.
Thank you.
Hi, Laura, Paula Hart here. I just want to thank you for your presentation and, expressing your concerns and challenges. And I guess Councillor Barrett pretty much asked the question, but I'm just wondering if maybe my understanding was wrong in terms of digital services. Do you find any roadblocks, I guess, with what, in terms of like audibles or, but I guess you maybe mentioned it, that people were coming into the library to access these things from you?
No, I just meant people are actually signing up to the library, getting a library card to be able to use the Hoopla service.
Okay.
Once you get that membership, you can use Hoopla from any internet connection you want to, essentially. The digital services are actually just extremely successful. And the only barrier that we have to, or difficulty we have with them, is cost, because the use is very streamlined with Hoopla. It's just meeting those community needs is the real challenge with it.
Yeah, and I commend you on inviting people in for personal items and and such, I think, but I think it should be, I didn't know that, so I just hope that more people get to know it.
Yes, and that's really what we want to do in terms of engaging with councils, take the opportunity to really share our services, really have a strong year of communicating with the community and engaging with the community and getting the message out. Because I think once people experience the service, they would see the value in supporting the funding resolution, right? So that's part of why certainly I'll be looking at coming back to council in future with more specific kind of support requests, like maybe adding your voice to our request to government to get more funding for food security or community health and well-being related work. It's just really we're on a good path and we want to make sure that this core operational funding issue doesn't destabilize the success of the service for the community's well-being.
Perfect. Thank you, Lauren.
Thank you.
Thank you, Laura, so much for your time. Just quickly, before we, hopefully you can go and catch the last rays of the sun. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Is there anything specific that you would like in terms of support from council at this time? Or do you foresee maybe just, maybe sending a correspondence if there is a need for a support letter in the future? Like if you just wanted to see if there was anything you require at this moment.
No, I think it's really just starting our communication and establishing, a background of understanding. So I certainly appreciate your time and attention to this matter. We will be looking at, putting the results of our strategic planning process out to the public. And I think there'll be communications that we'll be copying councils on more. So there'll be opportunities for adding your voice to those kinds of letters that go to government.
Absolutely. And I guess one quick final comment, just to build on Councillor Hart's comments. If there is some special service or maybe there is a future grant that an extraordinary service that is provided through Eastern County Regional Library, feel free to reach out and we can use our communication channels to try to get the word out. We're happy to collaborate in that way.
Thank you so much. And I just want to take the opportunity to thank the town for the support that the library receives. It is really appreciated. And we're certainly looking forward to improvements we can make in the children's area and celebrating that. So as I say, I think we're going in a good direction and we just want to make sure that we don't, have this funding issue derail that. Thank you for your
so much
time.
for your time. Have a good evening.
You too. Thank you.
Your worship,
Thank you.
just if with the indulgence of council, there was an issue that I had on the agenda for committee of the whole that was deferred to tonight. And can I address that now? Just in follow up to what
Sure.
you were asking, what we could do as a council?
Sure.
So at the Nova Scotia Federation Municipality Spring Conference, April 30th, May 2nd, there was a presentation made by a councillor from Truro. Her name's Alison Graham. She's actually from Judic. I think Morag, is her mum. Anyhow, in the package, this letter is in the package, right, Melissa?
It would have been in the committee of the whole package. from last
Okay,
month.
wasn't, okay, so you've had this presentation that she made. And she also included a resolution or a motion asking councils to give consideration to do a letter of support to the NSFM, asking them to make this funding formula agreement a priority for advocacy. So that's what I'd like to do, just with this, and I'm just going to read the motion that she was provided, if that's okay.
Yeah, if you allow her suggestion, since I know I'm, just a couple of weeks from the last time I looked at it. Since we have our committee of the whole in 2 weeks and we will have a special public meeting
Mhm.
immediately preceding that,
Mhm.
we could circulate that again to council just to re-familiarize
Sure,
themselves with it.
sure. Yeah.
And bring it to in 2 weeks' time, and then that way everybody's had an opportunity to refresh themselves with
Great.
it.
Yep.
If that's agreed.
That is, yes.
Okay, perfect. So we'll move on to acknowledgements. I have a few acknowledgements and then I'll open up the floor for some acknowledgements from council. So our national acknowledgements for the month of June is National Indigenous History Month, Italian Heritage Month, Filipino Heritage Month, Portuguese Heritage Month, as well as the launch of Pride Season. So maybe I'll open up the floor for other acknowledgements and we'll start with Councillor Hart.
Oh,
You're welcome.
I would just like to, on behalf of mayor and council and all of the town staff of Port Hawkesbury, I would like to congratulate students, staff, and faculty of the Strait Area Campus and SARIC on wrapping up another successful year. Your hard work and dedication have truly paid off. Wishing you all a happy, healthy, and safe summer, and enjoy a well-deserved break.
That's a great acknowledgement. Thank you so much, Councillor. We'll go over to Councillor Barry.
I just want to acknowledge the town for winning outstanding health and safety committee. It's just a real recognition of their commitment to safety and the culture. And really want to acknowledge that.
Just safety folks on our staff.
Yes.
It's a great thing. Thank you very much, Councillor. And we'll go over to Deputy Mayor Lane.
Yeah, yes, it was to you, everyone present. I'd like to acknowledge Town of Port Hawkesbury Volunteer Representative of the Year, Miss Annie Beaton. And she has accepted the nomination and will attend the provincial volunteer ceremony in Halifax on the 29th of September, 2025. And I understand you'll be
I want
accompanied.
to attend.
Wonderful.
So we definitely, huge congratulations to Annie Beaton. She certainly is a hard worker and wonderful volunteers. So we'll definitely be well represented. And over to Councilor McCordy.
Yes, your worship, I just want to acknowledge that on Monday, June 23rd, recognized as the National Day of Remembrance for Victims of Terrorism.
Thank you very much, Councillor. Any other acknowledgements this evening? I do know that there are some, there was a skills competition that was held just in the month of May. I do understand some local students did win, certainly in the top 3 categories for different awards. So we definitely want to acknowledge our students just to build on Councillor Hart's congratulations to our graduating students. Certainly want the testament to the hard work and dedication of our local youth. And with that, we will move on to approval of our council minutes. So for May 6th, 2025, we had a public meeting of council. At this time, I would ask if there are any errors or omissions. Hearing none, I would ask if there is any business arising from that set of minutes. Okay, so Terry, we'll move on to council committee reports and report from committee of the whole.
Yes, your worship. So from the May 20th Committee of Whole, some motions for consideration. The town of Port Hawkesbury sent a letter of thank you to the Strait Area Filipino Society for the community cleanup held in May.
What is the wishes of council?
I'd make that motion.
Okay, thank you, Councillor. Do we have a seconder?
I'll second that.
Okay, thank you, Deputy Mayor. All those in favor, please signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? The motion carries.
For your consideration that the town of Port Hawkesbury approves the amended community development terms of reference.
Okay, what is the wishes of council? Okay, So, moved by Counselor Hart, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, seconded by Counselor Barrett. All those in favor, please signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Yes. Any opposed? Motion carries.
And your worship, those are the two items coming forward.
Thank
We'll
you.
also be addressing the budget under other business.
Okay, thank you very much. So in terms of the approval of the committee of the whole minutes from May 20th, 2025, I would ask at this time if there are any errors or omissions in the set of meeting minutes. And if there are none, I would ask council to consider a motion of approval for the sentence.
I'm detective, I'm moving your approval.
Thank you very much, Deputy Mayor. Do we have a seconder? Okay, seconded by Councilor Hart. All those in favor, please signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? Motion carries. The minutes are approved. And any motions, usually we say call for any business arising from the set of minutes, but Terry did indicate that there is a budget, the presentation, that will for consideration by council. And we have no motions from in camera, do we?
Actually,
Oh, we
from,
do.
from,
From committee of the whole.
well, from the session from yesterday evening.
Okay, oh, thank you. Okay,
Just one motion for consideration.
Oh, yes.
The CIO be directed to commence the process to fill the Director of Finance Deputy CIO position with advertising to be posted by June 6th, 2025.
okay, thank you so much, Terry. What is the wishes of council?
I move that we.
Okay. Thank you. Deputy Mayor, do we have a seconder?
Seconded.
Okay, seconded by Councillor McQuarrie. All those in favor, please signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. And correspondence, there is one piece of correspondence from Nova Scotia Emergency Management Office. It's an update on the path forward. For the GSAR, just wondering, I guess this is for information purposes, but is there any questions or comments on this piece of correspondence? It's fairly straightforward. Hearing none, we'll move on to proclamations and resolutions. I don't believe we have any at this time. We'll move on to other business. So we have recommendations from the Bylaw and Policy Committee. And Terry Doyle will will provide a motion for our consideration.
For consideration that the notice be given that the town of Hawkesbury adopt the occupational health and safety policy at the special meeting of council on June 17th, 2025.
Okay, thank you very much, Terry. What is the wishes of council? Okay, so it's been moved by Councillor Hart. Do we have a seconder?
Second.
Okay, seconded by Councillor
Terry.
Todd Barrett. I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. I've been sitting in front of my laptop for way too long today. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor, please signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? The motion carries. And we have another motion for consideration.
From that same meeting for consideration that the notice be given that the town of Hawkesbury adopt the council procedural policy at a special meeting of council to be held on June 17th, 2025.
Thank you, Terry. What is the wishes of council?
So moved.
Okay, so it's been moved by Councillor McQuarrie. Do we have a seconder?
I'll second.
Okay, seconded by Councillor Hart. All those in favor, please signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. And that concludes the bylaws and policies under other business. So the more fulsome idea plan that followed our facilities manager Gordy Snook's presentation from our committee of the whole was circulated. And Gordy, did you want to speak just a little bit? Like the province was very gracious in offering additional reviews of this particular draft. If you wanted to speak to that.
Your worship, good evening, everyone. So we did send our updated policy off to the province after the last presentation a couple of weeks ago. They were very pleased, I guess, and more so told us that we're now the model plan for the rest of the province to follow. So all good news, and we just hope to have it passed through council this evening, and for a couple of tweaks to our to
Report card.
the report card part of it, we could be sending it out to the province to bring us into compliance. And
Thank you, Courtney.
Yeah. Sure.
And I know you weren't planning on speaking, I just kind of,
No, that's okay.
someone told you to come up.
Yeah.
But I guess in terms of the plan, Gordy and I are happy to answer any questions or comments that you might have at this time. Almost escaped.
Yeah, any questions?
Pretty quiet crowd though, so far.
Well, your worship, the only thing I want to do is just to commend the committee for putting together what really seems to be a terrific plan. And my understanding is you're the co-chair along with Matthew Higgins. And we've had staff support from CAO, Mr. Doyle and Mr. Snook and Ms. Warner. And then your community membership is Kathy Cook, Jade Hampson, Tiffany Coffin, Karen Stevens, and Melissa McDonald. So just want to acknowledge the work of the committee and say job well done.
Very much, Councillor. We appreciate that. We'll definitely pass on
Sure will.
those kind of words to the committee. So I guess if there's no further comment or question, we do have a motion for consideration. I want to take your job too.
On a roll. A motion for consideration that the town of Hawkesbury adopt the IDEA plan 2025-2028 as presented at the committee of whole meeting, should say for at the month of May committee of whole meeting.
Thank you, Terry. What is the wishes of council?
I'll move that.
Thank you, Councillor Barrett. Do we have a seconder?
Second.
Seconded by Councillor McCrory. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor, please signify by saying yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you very much. Our committee will be very happy. The next item is the Cape Breton Regional Enterprise Network contract approval, and I will call on our CEO, Gary Doyle, just to, if there's any high points you'd like to cover.
Your worship, I think we reviewed this plan a number of times. We looked at a number of amendments. We've had Cape Breton Partnership at the table at least 3 times around this. We haven't had any issues brought forward. We're at the point where we should be moving forward with this. We have budget approval, both in last year's budget and this year's budget for this plan. And would like consideration of council to pass this multi-municipal and indigenous community agreement, so we can move forward. And the motion for consideration around that is that the town of Hawkesbury approve the Cape Breton Regional Enterprise Network multi-party First Nations and municipal agreement.
Thank you, Terry. What is the wishes of council? So move. Okay, thank you. So moved by Councillor Hart. Do we have a seconder?
Second that.
Okay, seconded by Deputy Mayor Langley. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Yes. Any opposed? Motion carries. That conclude that item, Terry?
It does.
Okay, the next is drum roll. 2025-2026 budget approval. We're finally there. Erin, over to you.
Thank you, Rebecca. So this is the budget that we had reviewed in detail, throughout the last number of months, and what was presented at the May committee of whole meeting. So the exact same document that we would have seen and approved or had consensus to approve at that meeting, but just to give some highlights of that for to refresh everybody's memory on what we're looking at. So the budget that we're looking at approving this evening is a $9.49 million budget. Made up of 77% of our budget comes from assessment. So 67% of that is assessable property tax. So your commercial and residential property taxes, and then grants in lieu on our provincial and federal properties within the community. We did see some growth, not to the same level as we've seen in the last couple of years, but some growth in commercial and residential over last year, which was positive and helped us absorb some of the inflationary pressures that everybody is feeling and with costs rising around everything, particularly policing and some other significant services that are provided within the community. So $9.49 million revenue side, primarily taxation, but also sales of service and other services, particularly our recreation services, the sales of space in this facility, and those types of revenues that we take in outside of our property taxes. Next slide, please. Good to see that and what we want to see, especially when we're looking at our budget, is a balanced budget. So $9.49 million in revenue and $9.49 million in expenditures. So a balanced plan being put forward. Largest component of our expenditure side is our protective services, so our policing and fire. But there's also a wealth of other services that municipalities provide. Your roads and streets, your recreation services, the cost of this facility, education taxes, debt costs, and so on. So what we really like to see here is that, balanced plan. So revenues equal expenditures. So next slide, please. Oh, let's see the one next slide. Okay, we'll have to click. Within this budget, we get $6.35 million in taxation revenues, which is made up of $1.58 for a residential tax rate, $4.16 for a commercial tax rate, and 22 cents for our sewer service charge. If you click that again, Terry. So again, these rates have remained quite stable over the last number of years. So no increase in taxes over last year. And I'm going to continue to say this, that the rate, our residential all-in rate, which is our sewer charge plus a residential rate, is the same today as it was in 1987 at $1.08. So we like to tote that. On the capital side, sorry, I should have made these all one picture. Maybe click again, Terry. There we go. So on the capital side, we have an $8.5 million capital plan. A lot of that is stemming from projects that were previously committed. So continuation and completion of projects approved in previous years. So $6.26 million in previously approved projects that are continuing on. And then an addition of $2.24 million in new projects for the current year. That is being funded partially by reserves. So $2.84 million is coming from our reserves. I want to click again, Terry. And one more time. Yeah. So this plan is replacing 25% of our 2024 consolidated net capital assets. So kind of looking at rejuvenating and refreshing our capital within the community. And what we like to look at as well is the leveraging rate that we have on projects, meaning the amount of money that we get outside of our own funding. So in this year's plan, we're leveraging our capital projects at 53%, which is good and healthy. Just to give some highlights on some of the projects that will continue or be started this year. So $1.75 million around the continuation of our water treatment plant and distribution system upgrades. We are investing $400,000 in asphalt rehabilitation on our streets. So it's about 5,000 square meters. There's some fleet improvements, so tandem replacement and a service vehicle replacement. We're doing some energy efficiency upgrades within the fire hall. We're completing the Public Works facility, which should be ready to move into in the very near future, which is great to see. Arena board rebuild within the Port Hawkesbury Civic Center, completion of some of the upgrades around the ball field, around the lakes and the fields there. And continuing our active transportation connection. So we are slated to continue the AT facility or sidewalk in the Pine Ridge area this year. Yeah, so happy to answer any questions if council has them since we've last met. And when you're ready, the motion is on the screen. Back.
Any questions at this time for Erin? I know we've been living and breathing budget for the last,
That's nothing.
it's been all wonderful.
Yes.
So I believe we do want you to read it.
So the motion we're putting forward this evening would be that the town of Port Hawkesbury approves the operating and capital budgets as presented May 20th, 2025, with a residential tax rate set at $1.58 per $100 of assessment and a commercial tax rate set at $4.16 per $100 of assessment, and a sewer service charge of 22 cents per $100 of assessment for the fiscal year 2025-26. Property taxes are payable as billed by June 1st, 2025 and October 1st, 2025, and interest will be charged at a rate of 18% per annum on overdue accounts.
Thank you very much, Erin. What is the wishes of council? Okay, so moved by Councillor Hart. We have a seconder. Seconded by Councillor Barrett. Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Yes. Any opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations to council for approving the operating budget, and also to Erin and all of staff who have worked very hard, crunching numbers and sometimes compromising to make sure we remain fiscally responsible. So thank you to everyone involved in the budget process, including council. Now on to council expenses. So for information, and we'll hand things over to Terry to review those.
Your worship, as every month, we present expenses for mayor, councilors, and the CAO. And in this report is for the month of May. And total expenses for the month of May, as presented, is $2,545. This report will be posted on our webpage and the Facebook page.
Thank you very much, Terry. And our next item is summer recess.
Yes, your worship. So typically at this time of year, council recesses for the months of July and August. And I should say that we don't go home for the month of July and August. We recess with respect to meetings, the public council meeting and committee of whole. We do convene special meetings of council when required, and committee meetings if required. But the typical schedule of meetings is just, we ask that you consider that they be suspended for those 2 months. And the motion for consideration is the town of Port Hawkesbury recess for the months of July and August for regular public council meetings and committee of whole meetings, and we'll call special public meetings as required.
Thank you, Terry. What is the wishes of council?
So moved.
Moved by Councillor McQuarrie. Do we have a seconder? I'll second. Seconded by Councillor Hart. These are so happy with this particular. I don't think I've seen you quite as happy in a long time, Councillor McQuarrie. Anyway, all those in favor, please signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Yes. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, so we do have one approved addition, and it is a letter to support Dalhousie University. And they do have some notes here. The contact that we've made through Dalhousie University is through Martin Thompson. and who is kind of our energy manager that we share with Richmond County. And some of the notes that he thought that would be interesting to provide for council's consideration is that support of the project that Dalhousie is doing, and I guess I'll just to give you a little bit of context, it is the Transformation 2026 award that the deadline for this month, for the month of June, is just a letter of intent. So the bigger, broader application will be in March of 2026. And supporting this project is a logical next step in terms of our Offshore Wind Center of Excellence project that the town has already supported financially under the Green Energy Capacity Building Program. And as well, the Oceans Innovation Center in Port Hawkesbury could play a central role in what Dow is proposing. So they have already had the opportunity to visit our Oceans Innovation Center and are quite impressed, and we're very positive with a potential partnership between the town in Richmond and Dalhousie and their application. The letter has been circulated for your consideration, and I would ask at this time if council will support that letter that be submitted with their letter of intent this month. What's the wishes of council?
Full support.
Okay, thank you. Would you like to make a motion to that regard?
I move that the letter be sent as presented.
Thank you.
A second.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, second by Council Laird. Do we have any discussion on the letter? Okay, all those in favor, please signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Yes. Any opposed? Okay, the support letter is approved, and you can have Melissa finalize that and send that off. And under future meetings, so our committee of the whole will be in 2 weeks' time on June 17th, followed by a special public meeting of council. Usually the special public meeting of council, because we passed a motion to recess for the summer, will be to ratify any decision making that we need to do so that we don't delay any processes through the month of July and August. Then our next public meeting will take place on September 2nd after our summer recess. I would ask if there are any public questions at this time. And if there are, you're welcome to come to the mic and just identify your name, and we're happy to entertain any questions with regard to any other agenda items this evening. Already, Jason, no.
Thank you.
Just joking. I already put you on the spot. I'd ask at this time for a motion to adjourn.
Move the meter.
Do we have a seconder? All those in favor, please signify by saying yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? Thank you very much, everyone, for your time. And Aaron?